Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. In case you didn't hear the news, Ichiro Suzuki retired after today's second game of the season in Japan. Ichiro went 0 for 4 today, on top of going 0 for 2 days ago in the opener. He finished hitless for 2019. Ichiro finished, however, with 3,089 hits and should be a first-round Hall of Famer 5 years from now. He didn't like Cleveland, but when I first saw him play, I didn't think he'd be lasting that long because of his size, but he did last till the baseball age of 45. LeBron James was right. Father Time never loses. Ichiro became one of my favorite players, and one of the reasons is that he learned the history of the game. He came to play in the United States, and he visited the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown several times. The only thing I would have changed is in his last at bat, if he would have just swung as hard as he could, bounced the ball up the middle, over the pitcher's head, and continued that ball on between the shortstop and the second baseman into center field. I'm sure he wanted to do it too, but you know what? Baseball is a pretty tough game to play. Andy Baskin is here. More sports, and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into our 23rd consecutive year, and as always, seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Andy Baskin, 92.3 The Fan, is with us. Normally you don't wear sport jackets.
I'm done,
you have
man.
to dress up.
All my sport coats are retired.
Did you rent this one?
All my ties are retired, everything. I only wear them for funerals, bar mitzvahs, and weddings. That's it.
On the same day?
All on the same day.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Andy Baskin, 92.3 The Fan. How long have you and Jeff been doing? 8 years now?
8 years on the radio, and then we had another 6 on television before that.
So we're talking
we had a
about
couple years off.
Jeff Phelps?
Yeah.
So
it was weird when the show first started. I auditioned with, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 people, and at the last minute we're like, we got a guy we think you might know. And I was like, well, who is it? And they were like, Jeff Phelps. And I go, no, it'll work. We're going.
So what you're telling me is they asked me and I turned it down?
No, I don't think you were in the room.
No, I was not.
Were you? I don't think so.
No,
the first people that were hired were Adam the Bull.
Yeah.
Got hired out of New York. Our morning show, I think, was hired out of New York at the time. And then it was me.
They split it in half, so the local Cleveland got to have half the talent and New York got the other half?
Kind of worked out that way, didn't it?
That
yeah.
way?
I mean, I was just, it was an interesting thing on how we got on the air and how we got started. And, I was doing stuff for WNCX in the mornings.
Right.
And I was doing that through the TV affiliation I had.
Tell me how tough it was to do radio and TV at the same time, just style-wise.
It was brutal.
Why? Because there's 2 different games?
Yeah, and then like on TV, I hated being locked in on everything.
Yeah.
With radio, we're just sitting here talking the way we are now.
Right.
And the stories just flow like they would in a bar. In television, you had like 15, 20 seconds to tell a story, and you can never tell the story to the fullest. And I don't know. I look at it, they don't give them enough time. And you don't spend enough time doing local stories.
Right.
So
we were talking last week at an event you and I were at that it is amazing that you can do sports talk every day and you could prepare for one thing or not prepare, and 2 minutes before the show something breaks. For some reason, Cleveland breaks stories unlike any other city. Or am I saying that just because I'm a Cleveland guy?
No, I just think that we're very passionate about all of our sports and that we want to know what's going on, and there's this hunger. I think it starts when you're a kid. And like I remember, and I told the story last week, when we found out that the Browns were getting Bernie Kosar, I was listening to Pete Franklin,
right,
and I was trying to figure out how they were getting this guy from school early in this thing called the supplemental draft. And
none of us had heard of.
Yeah, I could not get enough information. And I went upstairs and said to my dad, I'm like, Dad, Pete Franklin says Bernie Kosar is coming here. My dad was shaving. I'll never forget it. I was sitting on the stairs, and I was so excited. And my dad was like, well, that'll be great, but I still don't understand how they're going to do it. And then later you find out that Art called Pete and told him everything on how it was going down.
Right. So they handed the story to him.
Yeah, but to me, that was a really significant moment in my life when it came to wanting to be a broadcaster.
To me, as a broadcaster, and I was a broadcaster in town at that time, the difference of how we did things versus today is pretty simple. 20, 25, 30 years ago, somebody could ask you something and you make up an answer, or you make up an answer that you think is correct. Today, you do that, and within 10 seconds, somebody's emailing you or twittering you or whatever, giving you the correct information.
There used to be, when I worked in Missoula, I used to give scores. And if you messed up a score or you said the score backwards, or the person that was putting the graphics on the screen, I mean, they would go ballistic, because that was how they were finding out the scores on local news.
Right.
And they were gambling. And they needed to know the score. And then the next day you find out that they had the wrong score up, and oh my God, you did not want to go to work. And the phones would be ringing off the hook.
You were just the advisor. You were just passing the information
I was
on.
just giving the information out,
Yeah.
but I would always say, listen to the person saying the score. Don't look at what you see on the screen.
Okay, now what we have is a situation with the Cleveland Browns. We're heading into unknown territory. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, and the unknown territory is, and we're talking about a team that didn't even break 500 last year, going 7-8-1. John Dorsey has become one of the most dominant characters in Cleveland sports history in the face of a year.
Yes, he has. It's amazing. I look at the situation with the Browns right now, and I keep going like this. I'm like, is this real? What's going on? How has this happened that within a year, Jimmy Haslam actually made the right hire?
Right. Well, you talk about within a year, and we'll post up what some of the differences is. You take a look at it right now. And it's hard to believe it was just one full year of John Dorsey. He was here for the last 4 years of 4 games of the year before. But look at the difference. You take a look at the transformation of this team. Quarterback Deshaun Kaiser, then on to Baker Mayfield, Isaiah Crowell, Kareem Hunt, along with Nick Chubb, Duke Johnson with both teams. Corey Coleman and Ricardo Lewis were the wide receivers. And now, after heading into 2019, it's Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. David Njoku has lasted so far, but who knows? Who knows how long that'll last?
It's interesting to hear all the national guys talk about Njoku. They all throw him in. Everyone, and he's still really young. And I say that to anybody that criticizes him for what you saw last season. He's still, when he came in the league, he was like barely 19 years old.
Right.
And just very, very young. This is where I think you should be concerned, Les.
All right, what, the offensive line?
Yes.
Yeah, getting back to the other one, you got Harris from who's at Kansas City, and one would think that Dorsey might want to see him get some action. Left tackle, of course, Joe Thomas in 17 as we head in. Greg Robinson is there, Joe Batonio there for both, along with J.C. Tretter. But Kevin Zeitler is shipped on to New York, and Austin Corbett will get a chance. Sean Coleman, I would have never come up with that name, Sean Coleman, if you asked me. And Chris Hubbard is that for 2019. So
I really thought that Deshaun Kaiser and Sean Coleman were going to take us to the Super Bowl.
yeah, who didn't?
Everyone thought that.
All right, the transformation continues. Here's the defensive line. Myles Garrett, of course, still here. Emmanuel Agba and Olivier Vernon here with the trade coming over. Trevon Coley and Sheldon Richardson. How about that difference? Danny Shelton was here in 2017, and Ogunjobi will be here for the 2019 season. Pretty quick how this thing turned around. That's why you sign guys to long-term contracts. They're not going to be here when it's all said and done. Joe Schobert has lasted, so has Christian Kirksey. James Burgess was here, but Jannard Avery, Jason McCourty versus Denzel Ward. We think they're all upgrades, don't we? Or do we just assume they are because they're now members of the Cleveland Browns?
I still think Schobert and Kirksey could be on the hot seat.
Both of them?
If they find a linebacker they could bring in, those guys could find themselves back on the depth chart, which is fine. I mean, you think about what they've been able to do for the franchise and organization, that if they could be lowered into the depth chart or don't see as much time as we've seen before, that means that offensive or the defensive line is better. The linebackers are better. And so, those two guys, the defense wasn't that good last year.
No,
and that's why you have a new head coach this year. Let's be completely honest.
Do we get fooled a little bit thinking it was better because the interim head coach was the defensive coordinator before he became the interim head coach?
I think we thought that the pressure of being both we worried about it more as the head coach than we did as the defensive coordinator.
Good point. 216-575-0403. We have a Facebook question. Each and every day we post one. What is the John Dorsey's best move to date? I think the best may still to come, be here to come. That's number one. Was it drafting Baker Mayfield? Was it firing Hugh Jackson? Was it trading for Odell Beckham? Or was it something else? What do you think it is, Andy?
I think it was Jimmy Haslam's best move to let John Dorsey fire
To let
Hugh
John
Jackson.
Dorsey be John Dorsey.
Yeah, to let him do it. I mean, I'm sure that Dorsey put his job on the line at the point and said, look, because I, to this day and forever, I will always believe that Jimmy Haslam wanted to keep Hugh Jackson. Wanted to keep him, would have kept him through the whole season, because that was a guy he went out and he got the top coach that was out there, and he was willing to let it take time. And I think he got sick of being called, a coach killer as an owner. But Dorsey knew better. You change head coaches, you get a new offensive coordinator, and you allow Baker Mayfield to grow. So Odell Beckham will be down the road, but I think that Hugh Jackson decision turned the tide on everything.
Well, here's an example. Dave Shoup says drafting Baker Mayfield was the best move, and we'll take a look at more. Dennis Davis has his. He says dumping Kenny Britt was the best move.
I don't disagree with that. I think it set the philosophy that he's right. They were not going to settle for mediocre players. And they did put everybody on those. So, Dennis, I think you're right.
Yeah, Pete Schoen says Baker Mayfield, for sure. And we continue on. Wayne Richard Lyons, accepting the Browns' job was the best move that he made. I would think a lot of people would agree with that.
Not a bad call.
And Larry Pantages. I wonder if he's the former Beacon Journal writer or editor. Well, there you see what he has to say.
Making a change.
Making the change at the coaching job.
Kenny Britt, look at that, getting a lot of love.
2 votes for Kenny Britt.
Who would have known?
Unbelievable. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Andy Baskin with us, 92.3 The Fan. It is Baskin and Phelps from 10 until 2 each Monday through Friday. We want to find out who the Browns can still get in free agency. We'll take a look at some of those players when we get back. We'll take your phone calls, 216-575-0403. New email. Well, you can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/more sports and less Levine, with new content posted each and every day. We'll come on back in a moment with Andy Baskin right here exclusively. More sports and less Levine continues on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
All right, birthdays for today, the 21st of March. Dick Shafrat. Somebody brought his name up the other day. Says, I believe he's about 80, well, what is he? 82 years old.
You told me there would not be math on this show.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I left myself hanging out to dry. He said that Dick Shafrat was substitute teaching in south of Canton, and well, we'll talk about that more. Tom Flores was born on this date. Mike Check, you know what that is?
No, what is Mike Check?
You have to check the mic to see if at the concert, see if it's okay.
Mike? Oh, yeah, that's Sibylis, his cousin.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Sibylis.
Mike Dunleavy Sr., born on this date. Adrian Peterson, Carlos Carrasco, also born on this
Happy
date.
birthday, Carlos. Welcome back.
Yeah, better to have a good year than one good day, and hopefully he will. What is your initial thought? We want to go to the Browns' second wave of free agency. Initial thought on the Indians?
I think they have the starting pitching. I don't know what to expect in the outfield. Jason Kipnis hurt again yesterday. I would love for them to figure out a way to trade him. I would love for them to let us know what they're planning on doing in the future. I wish they would quit stubbing their own toes with bad PR by saying we're not spending money.
So you're saying a $450 million contract is probably out of the question?
Yeah, I think so. Unless it's for you.
Yeah.
Unless it's for you. You're the only person that would do that. And I'll buy you a lottery ticket, which is just a little bit more this week.
Exactly. All right, second wave of free agency coming in. Eric Berry is a name that comes out at you because, of course, his tenure in Kansas City, and which coincides with the end of John Dorsey there. 30 years old, 9 NFL seasons, played only in 3 games the last 2 because of a ruptured Achilles tendon. Doesn't that seem like the kind of guy the Cavaliers might trade for? A guy already hurt?
Or the Indians. I think that's an Indians September or July trade.
5-time Pro Bowler.
You know, he's a John Dorsey guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, John knows what he would be getting. Also, some other health problems, serious health problems that he had to deal with. I think the age hurts him, though. If you look at the age of where the Browns are right now, 30 doesn't go over well.
Trey Boston, 26 years old, 79 tackles, 9 interceptions, and 262 tackles in his career with 11 interceptions. Is that a guy that intrigues you in any way, shape, or form?
A little bit. I am intrigued a little bit by him, but why is he still out there? If he's, that's the question.
That's always a question.
Why is he still out there?
You forget, maybe it's a money issue. Maybe. You never know. Let's continue on. Zach Brown and his band of renown. 29 years old, 7 NFL seasons, almost 100 tackles. He made the Pro Bowl in 2016.
Is he an upgrade over what we have right now? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And by the way, the Pro Bowl stat to me is meaningless these days.
Completely meaningless.
Backup quarterbacks, if they're interested in getting somebody else instead of their guy right now, Stanton, what do you think?
I think Drew Stanton's their guy, although Dorsey kind of danced around it the last time he was in front of a mic. Mike Lennon would make Jeff Phelps really happy. Josh McCown's the ultimate team player, and if you're looking for somebody that can come in here and teach a little bit, that McCown would be the guy. They loved McCown when he was here last time. Loved him.
Yeah, it was there's nobody here that was here then.
True, but I don't think they're going to mess with a quarterback. No. I think they're going to draft a young quarterback, and then they'll try to get him through onto the practice squad.
The way the NFL is, if your first-string quarterback gets injured and he misses any more than 3 games, doesn't matter who you have as your backup anyway.
Exactly.
Unless
a guy you're Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, that's once in a lifetime, I guess. But once you get past, I said 3 or 4 games, it may not even be that much because that guy would have. There's enough teams that need quarterbacks. If your second stringer is good enough to start somewhere, he should be there already.
That's where we are. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think you're 100% right.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Andy Baskin, here's 92.3 The Fan. Your thoughts on the Browns, and are we overreacting to this? Are we, because it's, the last 20 years since they came back, plus 3 years of hiatus?
So there's Andy Baskin, the fan.
Yeah.
The kid that grew up in Cleveland Heights.
Right.
The kid that is ecstatic over the roster that we have out there right now, Les. The one that can't wait for opening day. The one that just wishes that the preseason didn't exist and they were playing games right now and that we would have a chance to make the playoffs. And the one that everyone is saying had the best year in free agency. Like, you can't even count the Browns. They were so good compared to everybody else. That guy is going crazy right now and can't wait for the Browns to play.
What you're referring to, and I heard you talking today with Jeff, that when they got all these guys together from ESPN and they said, okay, besides Cleveland, who had a good offseason?
Who clearly crushed it in free agency,
right.
Yeah. I just, as a person and as a fan, I am ecstatic. Like, I am like everybody that wants to go grab a cooler and go down and tailgate right now because I'm ready for this team to play. Unfortunately, like, this job makes you tainted. It makes you rough. It makes you like a gigantic Brillo pad. And so now you're going, well, what's the problem? Is Austin Corbett ready on the offensive line? Do we have a coach who's in his first year who has no idea how to be a head coach? You start looking for the negatives.
What game will Baker Mayfield get hurt in?
Yeah, well, I don't think injury. You can't ever think injury. You know that. But that's the other part of me too, is that. And then I'm like, man, I don't know. Do we have any right to be cocky as Browns fans? We've been the laughing stock of football for so many years now that's what we're used to. And I got to tell you, I want to take 5 minutes to feel good about what's going on. Yeah. They're smiling in Berea right now, and they should be. It's a job well done until they play.
You forget how it wasn't that long ago that it was 1-32. To me, it seems like ages right now.
Les, they were giving out free beer for the first win.
Right.
That was this year.
Yeah.
Well, this calendar year.
Yeah. 216-575-0403.
Football calendar year. Sorry, football calendar.
There you go. Mike Masetta, Nature Stone, standing by. We're going to find out what Mike's thinking. We'll line up your phone calls, 216-575-0403. And we'll take a break. We'll come on back. We will hear from Mike. Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing. Catch the excitement of live harness racing Monday through Wednesday, as well as Saturday evenings at the post time of 6 p.m. Open early every day for simulcast action for the top thoroughbred and harness tracks all around the world. It's free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Andy Baskin and I return in a moment exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your basement is damp, dirty, and not somewhere you want to spend time. Let Nature Stone Flooring transform your basement into a true extension of your home. Nature Stone's proprietary hydrostatic ports allow water to simply evaporate, so no mold or mildew. Nature Stone is the affordable basement floor solution that beautifies your home.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of March and get up to 50% off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Got a how come quickie here, Andy. You ready for it? How come if there's a storm in the ocean somewhere, the price of gas goes up, but if the weather's absolutely perfect, the prices don't go down? Why would that be?
Les, I am always blown away by your how come cookies. I'm never fast enough. I was so excited I had one the other day, and it was one of those.
You got to write them down.
I do. I guess when they happen, I've got to write them down. It was the whole number 2 pencil thing. Why is it the number? Why
if
is
it's so good, why is it number 2?
Yeah, why is it number 2?
You can't go into the store and say, I'd like some number 1 pencils.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't.
Are those the big, thick ones that you use when you're in?
I have absolutely no idea. But one man who could answer it is Mike Masetta from Nature Stone. He knows stuff. Mike, are you there? Andy Baskin's here. Andy Baskin's here. We want to know why, if the number 2 pencil is the best, how come it's not number 1? Yeah, you don't know.
That's a very good question. I
Thank
got to
you.
ask my kids that, because that's what they use to bubble in all their tests, right?
Of course.
That's the one that they ask for.
All right, Mike is a maven on everything, but I think he's mostly mavenish on baseball. I understand the baseball season's underway with Seattle and Oakland, and Seattle's an insurmountable 2-0 lead in the standings.
They're well on their way to a World Series, right? Is Encarnacion still with Seattle? So that must be why they're winning, because they got the number 4 hitter there.
Right, and he hitting indoors in Japan is not like hitting in April outdoors in Cleveland.
Exactly, yeah. No,
all right.
Seattle, they went and they traded all their pieces away, then they brought Encarnacion in. You know, yeah, they're off to a great 2-0 start. I don't know if they're going to be a World Series contender. They still got to deal with that tough Western division there, but a good start for them.
Hey, just in general, I'll ask you both, the Mike Trout thing, what is your reaction to it? Is it good for baseball, bad for baseball? Let me start with Andy. Andy, what do you think?
I think it's amazing that Mike Trout signed this deal in the first place, because every report that I've heard is that he's underpaid. Underpaid. Can you believe that we would have $1 billion player? That's what they were saying, that he's underpaid. To me, it's amazing, but I just can't imagine paying $36 million a year for a 39-year-old.
No, eventually he will be 39. You're absolutely right. None of these long-term contracts work that long. Mike, what is your thought of it? Good for baseball or bad?
Well, I don't know that it's all that good for baseball. I'm surprised that the Angels did this, because they did the same thing with Pujols several years ago, and they're getting diminishing returns on Albert. And while Albert's was a great player and had a tremendous career, he's certainly a Hall of Famer. He's not worth the money that they paid him for the amount of years that they had. Then they went and did the same thing with Trout. But Trout is the best player in baseball. There's no question about it. So, that was something that they needed to get done to keep him there. But I don't think these massive long-term contracts are great for baseball. It hamstrings the teams, and it allows the unions to come in and negotiate higher contracts for everybody else that shouldn't be getting them.
Yeah, you got Mike Trout, and then how are you going to fill out the rest of your team over the next 12 years?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, they did it with Toles, and now they went ahead and did it with Trout. I mean, they've got, between those two guys, they got to have about $750 million tied up between those two guys alone with the contract they signed, I think.
Go ahead, Andy.
Think about this point. Trout's going to make $100 million more than the Dolans paid for the Indians.
Yeah, that's
that's crazy.
That is crazy, and what is also crazy is the thought that anybody around here will think that the Dolans here comes the Dolans is cheap argument again, if they aren't able to come up with something in the same neighborhood. We all know they can't, so you can start getting out your excuses right now, I would think.
It's not even worth making excuses about. And I give them credit. I mean, Chris Antonetti and Shapiro, when he was here, they did a tremendous job with the front office. And everybody can hate me for saying that, but they did a tremendous job with under the money constraints that they were under to sign players, bring players in, and put together a winning program. And they're still a winning program. They still have the best pitching staff, starting staff in baseball, and they still have the best shot to win the Central Division and get to the playoffs. So you still never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the rules have changed a little bit with Lindor. Not sure of where he's going to be opening day, and now Kipnis and all that in the outfield. Although getting Gonzalez certainly helps, but this outfield is constituted right now not very impressive. But I think they're smart in the sense that they know they can't compete and put up a 25-man roster with that kind of money. On the other hand, they've decided to do it with starting pitching and maybe the bullpen. And I guess, Andy, if you can't go man-to-man, I guess you got to figure out a way you can win, and that's the way they figure they can win.
I still think they'll make a deal around the trade deadline. I think that they'll be able to afford somebody that they can bring in, especially Big Stick, if they need to. My question then becomes, are they going to trade Kluber? Are they going to trade Bauer? But, Mike, hey, let me ask you this question. What do you think when Paul Dolan said, we're not making money last week?
Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting comment. I mean, while on the surface, the organization as a business may not be making money, but they're certainly making money hand over fist. That organization is now worth about double, maybe triple what it was when they paid for it. So when they do go and sell that franchise, they're going to make a boatload of money, and they're going to more than make up for any losses that they've had. And I can't imagine them losing all that much money on an annual basis with the team.
No, but
so I think that was it might be true in part, but I think it was a very unprofessional comment on his part, just my opinion.
Yeah, I think on a cash flow basis, maybe they are losing money, but again, they got that piece of paper, which is the title to the team, which is worth who knows what it is now.
$1 billion. Yeah,
at least $1 billion.
Worth $1 billion. He's going to sell it and make about $700 million on it.
Right. But this isn't me defending them because they don't need me to help them defend themselves. But people don't realize, I know you look at the teams in the division and you don't think it's very impressive. It's still very tough to win 3 in a row. It's tough to win 1 in a row, to be honest with you. And I don't think they get enough credit for that. Now, I can rip them for other things, but winning is tough to do, and they found a way, maybe not the way you'd like them to win, but they found a way to win.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. That's the Dolans allow their front office staff to do the job of the front office staff, and they're the owners and they control the money, but the front office staff is they're bringing the players under those constraints, whatever those money constraints are, and it's a marriage made in heaven, and those guys do a tremendous job with analytics and whatever it is that they're doing to bring in players. And when they get players at a young age, they sign them to at least get them through to 27, 28 years old and be able to have them under team control during that stretch where they're coming of age, and that allows them to go and play very well and win a lot of games. So I do get for what they, and it worked. It's definitely a working
triangle.
What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah,
scenario triangle. I would say in the triangle part of it, it's also what you're saying is Terry Francona too. Yeah. That they're smart enough to let an experienced manager do what he needs to do and have the impact that he needs to have on the team and the lineups and the guys that are in the organization. And I don't think they give we give Francona credit, but it's the relationship between the ownership and Francona that keeps Francona happy where he is right now.
And the phones still ring when other franchises are looking for guys to fill their front office spots. The phone still rings. I find it strange to me that Mike Chernoff has been there 15 years. Is that possible?
I met him like his first year as an intern.
Yeah.
He was an intern when I first met him.
Well, I guess that's what you got to do. Eric Mangini was an intern, winds up being an NFL head coach.
It's all about not making any money. That's
all right, Mike, what do you think? Do they do they win the Central Division again?
Oh, I think they do. I don't think that the Central Division is up to their level yet. I think that the starting pitching is more than enough to win this particular division, and I think that they'll have enough offense. Look, if they get some of these young guys to come around, if Bowers hits the ball like he's capable of hitting the ball, and they get a lineup to fill out a little bit, the Carlos Gonzalez signing was huge, and I think that gives them at least 2, if not 3, professional hitters in their outfield.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. The lineup still doesn't look very good to me, but it just seems to me that pitching is going to take them enough. But I give them credit because they took a look at the lineup like the three of us has looked at it, and they said that's not good enough. And they're not sitting around waiting until the All-Star break or even the trading deadline. They went out and continued to man the phones and try to get somebody to fill those outfield positions. I give them credit for noticing. Well, we've been saying it for 3 months here. They figured it out. They wanted to give some guys chances. Now they're saying, okay, they've had their chances. Let's go play ball.
Yeah, and the big thing in baseball these days is on-base percentage and extra base hit. And the one thing that the Indians did not do well last year was get on base. They got a ton of extra base hits and scored some runs, but they always did it in 1 inning or 2 innings. They never did it consistently throughout a game, and they would get into big-time slumps. And they would go games without scoring runs because they don't get anybody on base. So there's no consistency there. But this year's team, you look at the way that they move some of these guys that are big slugging percentage guys, but not on base guys. And now they have a lot of guys on their team that might be better in terms of getting on base, which could generate more runs or at least the same amount of runs, but just in a different way.
All right, Mike, as always, thanks for joining us. You still, if you contact naturestone.com, you got the ways to get half price through the month of March. So please contact our friends at Nature Stone. Mike, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, guys. Take care.
Good talking to you, Mike.
Great guy, Mike Macetta at Nature Stone. His grandfather might have been, at the time, the best softball player in the history of Cleveland.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yaya Macetta.
Right there. Right. That's Hall of
Fame. You got to name Yaya.
Right there.
You got to be good.
Playing where though? Like at what fields would you see him at?
Morgana. Saw him all over the city. One of the
Gordon Park.
I didn't see him at Gordon Park. I'm sure he played there.
Okay.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Andy Baskin, 92.3 The Fan, is with us. We'll continue that discussion about the Indians and whatever's on your mind. That line is open if you'd like to get in. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com. And also you can, we also have the voicemail of Truth and Reason, 216-200-6650. You can call 24 hours a day, leave a message. We'll put the best messages and even maybe the worst messages on a future show. This is a brand new feature on More Sports and Les Levine, 216-200-6650. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively right here on cleveland.com.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
It takes Smylie One Heating and Cooling to bring the heat when things get chilly. Find us at 440-449-HEAT.
This date in sports history, March 21st, 1964, UCLA caps a 30-0 season with a 98-83 win over Duke for the NCAA title. John Wooden wins the first of his 10 NCAA championships. That team featured a great backcourt of Walt Hazzard and Gail Goodrich, along with Keith Erickson and Kenny Washington. That'll never happen again. 10 NCAA championships?
No way. Not as good as that backcourt at Smylie One, though, I'll tell you that. I see their trucks all over the place.
It's amazing. You don't think it's the one truck that just follows you around?
Oh, maybe that is it.
No, they do a terrific job. They do it at my home, and we appreciate them. They do a terrific job. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. All right, we've been talking about the starting pitching for the Indians. Let's take a look at the bullpen. And these guys were just cut in the last day. Nobody that...
I think that's what everyone's saying. These guys, who?
These guys, A, B, and C. Alex Wilson, Justin Grimm. The Grim Reaper showed up on that one. A.J. Cole, all cut from the bullpen of the Indians. And you look at this, Andy, there's 9. It's an 8-man bullpen, and there's 9 men here. 8 of them, other than Nick Whitgren. Whitgren is the only one who did not pitch for the Indians last year. So much for a turnover in the bullpen.
Yeah, let's see what they got. I'm just we've had such a good bullpen over the last couple of years. Yeah. So reliable. Andrew Miller's not there. That's the name that's still...
No, and I think one thing Francona does well is, although he lost some people that were not his choice, you can't keep the same bullpen year after year after year. You know, Brian Shaw, they knew it was time to give up on him.
Yeah,
right?
and what is the life expectancy of a guy in a bullpen?
3 years.
Dan Otero seems like he's been here for 100 years.
Yeah. Well, the life expectancy is not 100 years, I can tell you that.
As a bullpen guy?
Yeah, but 3 years would be about right.
I look at bullpen guys, and I think about Andrew Miller, and I think about what an enigma that was, and how that became such a great thing. But again, a failed starter is a guy who becomes your best bullpen guy. Those guys are all based in failure.
Yeah,
I mean, the game is a game of failure, but bullpen guys really are failures because they weren't able to make it as starters. It's not like you're going through it and saying, I want to be a bullpen guy. I mean, how many kids start, I want to, maybe a closer, but I want to be a setup guy?
Okay.
Ooh, that's what I want to be.
Well, here's the other thing. And Tony La Russa messed this up when he invented the 3-out save. If every team had a guy like Dennis Eckersley in those days, or the greats, that's one thing. But there's not 32 phenomenal Hall of Fame closers out there.
No, I also ask psychologically, does it make sense to have a closer? If a guy's rolling in the 9th and he's not your closer.
I used to say that about Eric Plunk all the time. He'd come in, throw 3 nasty guys out, and then
we're done.
Somebody else was in.
Why? Why do we put so much pressure on the 27th out?
I don't know.
I ask myself that every day when I watch Bob Wickman go out on the hill.
Do you think
when I traveled with the team and I would watch Wickman close all the time, I'm like, why are we putting so much pressure on this guy? Isn't there some? If a guy's on a roll,
yeah, you mean the 8th inning? You mean the 8th inning pitcher?
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's an obvious thing. The other part of that is that sometimes saves are sometimes a function of who you face. If you face the 7th, 8th, and 9th guy in the lineup, it's a lot easier than 2, 3, and 4.
All right, so what do you think of the rule change then? That you're going to be locked in for 3 batters?
I just don't like it. I don't like them messing with the game itself.
And can you throw a pinch hitter in there?
I don't know.
What happens if you put a pinch hitter in? Does that mean you can change the pitchers?
Apparently not, because it doesn't say anything about the hitters. It says the rule change has to do with the pitchers themselves.
And should it be a 5-game suspension if you get hurt? Or they have to pull the pitcher out? Think about it.
Well, these are all because of injury?
Well, look, if the rule is you're
fake
going
injury?
Yeah, well, now you're going to get plantar fasciitis. We're going to get what the NBA has every night. I got this, I got that. I got, something, right?
Everybody's got something.
But my point is, what happens if you have to pull a guy early?
They didn't think that rule out.
I don't think they've thought it
And
through
you know
either.
what else? If you got two guys, let's take I don't know, Hosmer, the left-handed hitter with San Diego, and Machado, the right-handed hitter. You're going to bat them both together. So you're telling the other manager, go ahead, pick your poison. Which one do you want? If you can't put in a relief pitcher, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know how they're going to enforce this. I don't know how they're going to. I know how they'll enforce it. I just don't know what's the penalty when a guy gets a hangnail after the second batter, and the hangnail really had nothing to do with anything.
I don't know.
I mean, if we can let the Astros have a guy take pictures from the opposite dugout, I want to see how they're going to enforce this. I want to see how they're going to.
I don't think they thought that one out. The one I don't ever want to see. Well, first of all, I used to hate the shift, but why wouldn't you be able to put your fielders where you expect them to hit the ball? Why would you take that away from them?
And tell the hitter, put it where they're not.
Well, you can tell them that, but then the next rule 5 years from now is no, batter, you can't hit where there's nobody standing. You're not allowed to do
pitcher's
that.
hand.
Pitcher's hand out.
Next thing you know, you only need 8 guys to play the game. Right? Then the union's going crazy because you just lost the salary.
The object, apparently, according to Robert Manfred, the commissioner, is to save some seconds and minutes here and there, right? If they want to save baseball, get people interested, make some rules. You're not going to have a salary cap, but make some rules that will force the big market teams to compete with the little market teams, and hope that your team in Cleveland or Milwaukee or wherever knows that on April 1st they have a chance to compete. That's what you have to do for baseball.
Okay, so I agree with you to a point. We'll go back and look at all the teams that have been in the World Series over the last 20 years.
The different
teams.
The
middle teams are the mid-market teams can get there.
Yeah, but the big boys.
You just got to wait every 3 years.
The big boys have a better chance to get there.
I agree with that.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Andy Baskin is with us from 92.3 The Fan. Colin Sexton, he's been doing fairly well lately.
It's been nice. I think that after he got snubbed from that Futures game at the All-Star break, he's like, forget you, I'm coming.
All right,
I'm coming for you.
Check that out and more. See what the Cavaliers should do or shouldn't do. We'll come back in a moment. Sokolowski's University Inn. I haven't been there since
yesterday.
About 6 hours ago. Today. You know, they've been with me 26 years, almost every day on radio and television. We appreciate their business, but listen, they don't just show up and put in a day's work. They do everything they have to continue to be better than they were the day before, going all the way back to 1923. The winner of the James Beard Foundation Award. Only 5 restaurants in a year get that award. That's in the whole country. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski won it about 3 years ago. 11 to 3, Monday through Friday, Friday and Saturday nights for dinner. It's Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant, Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. And we're back in a moment. More sports and Les Levine seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
The concrete in your garage is uneven, cracked, pitted, and just plain ugly. Transform your garage into a welcoming entryway with Nature Stone flooring. Reduce tracked-in dirt. Eliminate puddling and salt damage. Plus, Nature Stone corrects uneven concrete so you don't have to worry about tripping or slipping.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of March and get up to 50% off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
All right, this date in Les Levine history, Andy, let's take a look at it. Concerned that in 1964, concerned that one of his not-so-bright teammates might miss a bunt sign. Les just goes to the coach and says, just yell out the word bunt. Figure nobody on the other team would believe it.
That's why you're so smart. I have a story just like that.
In a minute, because we go with the week in review here. 1986, Les returns from Syracuse, New York, where he announced the Cleveland State win over Indiana in the NCAA tournament. He packed for one day, wound up staying 4. Nobody wanted to be near me. I don't understand why.
Wow.
We continue on, and we see what else happened. 1960, one of the prettiest girls in Les' school invited him to her house, telling him that her parents were out of town. Les said, "What, are you crazy? Ohio State's playing for the national championship against California." Later years, she denied the whole thing, and I don't blame her.
Come on, that is not true.
It's loosely based on truth.
Loosely, yes.
1964, Les breaks his nose in a collision with a teammate in practice. His teammates sent him a get well card by a vote of 5-4 with only one abstention.
Well, that's not bad.
It's not bad at all. Colin Sexton, what do you do with the guy?
Keep letting him play. Let him learn. That's what you're doing. I don't think I'm trading him now. I thought for a little while that maybe he'd be good trade bait. But look, it depends on who they wanted to bring in if you wanted to trade him. So
what do you do with Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson?
I'm keeping Kevin Love. The team, and by the way, not that I wish injury on anybody, but the injury from last night does not hurt this team. He's probably done for the season, right? Was anything announced today?
I didn't hear anything. What are you saying? Just tell him he's hurt?
Well, no. I mean, look, if you're in concussion protocol, you're probably going to be out for a while. Dele's been out for at least 7 games.
Right.
So leave him there. We've seen enough. We don't want this team to win any more games. You want to be one of the top 3 picks. When he's on the floor, if you take away the first 4 games of the season, the Cavaliers are a 500 team. If you end up with the number 1, number 2, or number 3 pick, you may be a team that's going to be in that purgatory next year, but you're one more guy away from being good. By the way, the shocker of the week was the LeBron James poll question we did. We can talk about that.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, we went and asked our listeners the other day if the Lakers wanted to re-up and say they wanted to trade the Cavaliers right now the Lakers would send us LeBron James. We would send him our first pick.
Not knowing what it is?
Not knowing what it is, and you could do it. You could do it now, or you could do it after you know what it is. Let's say it's a top 3 pick.
What was the result?
Would you do it? Let's start there.
No, I don't. I've had enough of LeBron.
You don't want him back?
No.
You and most of Northeast Ohio.
Really?
We had close to 8,000 votes,
right?
Which is a huge turnout for us on Twitter. I think it was 71% don't want to do it. They want the pick. Were
you surprised?
A little bit. I was a little bit.
Well, I think
if you knew you were going to make the playoffs next year with him, if you knew you had a chance to win,
yeah.
Look, you just laid out a formula that there are players on this team that could help them win the East. Question is, what happens with New York next year?
And what happens?
Is Kyrie going to be
39?
there? Is Durant going to be there? That's true too.
Right.
But isn't it weird to see LeBron in an element where he doesn't control his future? The Lakers could trade him if they wanted to.
Yeah, he signed a long-term contract. No question about that. I don't think he's not going to tell you this, but this is what he signed up for.
I don't think it is either. Plus, there's always little rumors floating around that his kids want to come back here and go to school here. Those are the same rumors that said he wanted his kids to go to St. V before, too.
Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing, and, of course, Monday through Wednesday as well as Saturday evenings with the 6 p.m. post. Live racing at Northfield Park, free admission, free parking each and every day. Each week, the Ohio Lottery, Partners in Education, they recognize students who are role models from across the state of Ohio. This week, we head to Shaker Heights High School to meet Lyle Yost. Yost excels in diving, as well as competing on national and global levels. The Ohio Lottery proud to salute Lyle Yost, this week's Shining Star.
The #1 diver in the state of Ohio is Lyle Yost, but the Shaker Heights senior really wants to be the best in the world.
The Olympics is definitely a goal. It's something that's always nagging in the back of your mind.
He began diving at the age of 8, learning from Mark Cahalan and the American Flyers diving team in Solon. 2 years later, Yost qualified for the Junior Nationals, and he's been competing across the globe since then. He's been to Cuba and to Germany and Ukraine and different parts of Canada. I mean, that is something that is, and that's the beginning. Like, this is really the beginning of his career. The summer of 18 was especially sweet for Lyle. In July, he was in Kiev, Ukraine, competing in the FINA World Junior Diving Championships, where he finished 12th in the world in the 1-meter springboard. It was hard not to get overwhelmed by it, but I mean,
there's just the experience, just being a part of it, soaking it all up. That's my favorite part.
Yost flew straight from Kiev to Atlanta for the USA Diving National Championships, where he captured not one, but 2 national titles.
It was really great to finally, get there, have everything come together and come out on top, finally get that national title.
Once he got back home, Lyle won the Division I state championship in February, just like he had done as a junior and as a sophomore. But he also broke the state record in scoring during sectionals.
The previous state record was about 650-ish, around there, for 11 dives, and I came in and went 681, and hopefully that's one that's going to be sticking up there for a long time.
Lyle Yost will be diving for the Ohio State Buckeyes next year as he works toward his ultimate goal.
At this point, we're taking it one step at a time, just trying to get better every day, little goals, just really focus on the progressions, and the results will take care of themselves.
Well, if you know of a student deserving of recognition, visit OhioLottery.com, go to the About section, find the tab that is marked Supporting Education, then nominate him or her as an academic all-star. He or she could end up as one of our shining stars from the Ohio Lottery. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/More Sports and Les Levine, with new content posted each and every day. We have an email address, of course, reallleslevine@gmail.com. John Patrick, who is now starting to send in daily quickies. He sends me one that he knows and I know is politically incorrect, and then he says, if you don't like that one, try it. John, I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said I'm not going to use it. You agree with me?
There's a lot of those are the ones that get dumped on the radio.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, I can use this one. How come I pampered my cow and now I'm getting spoiled milk?
No, that's fair.
It's good. It's not great.
Especially anyone who has tweens out there or teenagers.
Major Tom from Cleveland says, is there a process or system in place whereby the current commissioner of baseball can be impeached successfully and then replaced by somebody who actually loves the game of baseball? I think Manfred loves the game of baseball. He's
I do too. He's just trying to fix problems, but I don't know that he's working on the right problems right now.
Earl Morrall, this is from Cleveland Bill. Earl Morrall took the Colts to the Super Bowl, as did Nick Foles, after Unitas and Wentz respectively went down. We need somebody better than Stanton if we're taking 2019 seriously. Bradford would be great, but he's out of options, you cited. Okay.
Are we taking it seriously?
Well, you can't. If you got to win with your second-string quarterback in this day and age, you can't win.
You're probably better off waiting through the camps, waiting through preseason, and see who gets released.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to find a better quarterback.
Let's
Somebody who's battling for a backup spot.
Let's go to the phone. Your friend and mine, BP from Pepper Pike. Hello, BP.
BP, we're going to BP.
Go ahead, BP.
Hey, gentlemen. The two funniest guys on Cleveland radio.
There you go.
You're darning us with faint praise.
Yes, faint.
No, you guys are. There seems to be an echo.
All right.
Hello?
Wade through it.
Hello?
Wade through it.
Testing,
Wade through it.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay,
Yes,
come on.
thank you.
We'll do the jokes around here.
I wanted to ask Les if you or Andy can name the current teams of all the Indians that have been jettisoned in the off season. If you can name
players,
starting with let's say Edwin Encarnacion. What team is he on? Then go to
Seattle.
Jan Gomes. Can you name those?
What do you
teams?
think? We have 2 hours to do. Jan Gomes is Toronto, right? No, Atlanta. Washington. Washington. Yeah.
Here, let me ask you a better question. Ready?
Yes.
Who cares?
No, but it just shows that baseball, it's not what it used to be. Like I remember in the old days, I couldn't wait for the All-Star game. It would Reggie Jackson, and now it's like I can't name you 5 guys on Seattle or who's on Tampa Bay, who's the manager of these teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they start the season in March out in Japan.
They're not aiming at people like you and me and Andy. They're aiming at people who are going to go get a drink along with their ticket. That's what they're aiming at. I mean, Dennis Maniloff had a great comment.
They're handing out these huge salaries, $400 million salary contracts that are worth more than the teams. Basically, I just don't understand where baseball is going.
Well, it's the way of the world right now. I mean, the money is. I asked Paul Dolan one time what it feels like watching a game and seeing a guy that you just signed a paycheck for however much, see him pop up with the bases loaded. And he says you have to totally separate that. If you love the game, you love what the game is, not how much money the guy's making per at bat.
I get it. It's like a boss who's got everyone who works underneath them makes more money than they do.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Have a great day. And
All
enjoy
You too.
the
Thanks, BP.
NCAA
We'll see you soon.
Good to talk to you. Yeah, I've got to get home and watch that. That's for sure. You had how many brackets did you fill out?
Just one, and then we do a family pool. And so there's 8 of us in my family, and then we do a snake chart, and then you get the first. I had the 4th pick, so.
A snake chart is what? You go one,
So the
then
first
8,
round,
then 8, back to 1?
That's right. So like my brother-in-law took 8.
Okay.
So we could have back-to-back picks, and I think I had the number 4 pick, so I had Gonzaga. And,
The kids are involved in this?
I let the kids help me pick the team. I help us pick.
Do they
our
pick
teams.
by mascot or color or?
No, I got to tell you, my kids are into sports. They love it. There are times I'm like, how did he know that? Especially my son.
Right.
My son's all over stuff every once in a while. My daughter will come up to me and tell me about trades in the NHL, and I'll be like, where'd you hear that at? You know. So.
Kids are what, 11 and 12?
13, almost 14. Getting old quick. High school next year.
Getting
already.
old?
Getting old. I'm getting old. I'm getting old quick.
You can't talk like that in this room where I am.
I can't? Yes, I can.
All right, what's on tap tomorrow's show, you and Jeff Phelps?
It's a Friday, free-for-all Friday, so that means I'm not really quite sure what we're doing tomorrow. I'm sure we're going to be talking about the Browns again tomorrow. We'll talk about the NCAA basketball tournament, where I don't think the interest is up as it is.
I don't either.
I don't think people care.
No, I don't either.
I really don't.
I think Clevelanders care about Zion Williamson because they think...
Or Jay Barrett, too, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Williamson is the name that is on everybody's minds right now.
It's Zion. It's just one of those names that if your name starts with a Z, people are going to remember who you are.
Yeah, but he can also play.
Oh, I know he can.
Yeah.
But, excuse me.
How do you feel?
I've been dying. My wife actually has pneumonia right now, so I'm just kind of...
Oh, so you're just staying away from
It went through the whole house.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's either the Petri dish at 92.3 The Fan or the education system that keeps retreading these coughs that keep going through.
All right, that'll do it for us. As always, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I always appreciate it.
Andy Baskin on Baskin and Phelps on 92.3 The Fan. You can hear him Monday through Friday for that one. Tomorrow night, Dave Bacon, of course, with his weekend winners show. And we'll be back Monday. I don't know who will be here Monday. I know Bud Shaw will be here Tuesday. Dennis Maniloff on Thursday. In between, tune in and find out. By the way, you can watch us live from 6 to 7. And that, of course, is Eastern time. We get phone calls coming in at all hours of the day and night, but we do it from 6 until 7 Eastern time exclusively right here on cleveland.com. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.